Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the afternoon session of our orientation into the virtual learning series. My name is Etienne Joseph, but you can call me E. I am the staffing consultant for Corning's University Campus and Events function. I lead the presence on campus at career fairs and at conferences for Corning. A lot of you I have probably met before, whether it be at past events or in previous years. I will be your humble guide this afternoon for this session and moderator during the orientation. Just a heads up, as I mentioned earlier, we will be recording this session, so if you miss anything, you'll be able to access it at a later date via the recording that we will make available to you. Before we get started, we're going to do a little bit of housekeeping. I'd like to ask everyone, if you're not already, to please put your mic on mute so that we can avoid any outside noises or distractions during the presentations so that we can show some respect to our presenters. And we also want this to be interactive for you guys. So if you have any questions, please use the chat function to ask the questions, and we'll be sure to take time to answer them immediately following each presentation. For those of you who are not familiar with WebEx, that chat button is the third button from your right at the bottom of your screen. When you move your mouse, it'll pop up in the bottom of your screen towards the middle, and it'll be the third button from your right. It looks like a thought bubble. So again, wanted to just take a minute to thank you guys for taking time out of your days to be with us. I've said it before, you could have been anywhere doing anything today, so we're excited that you've chosen to spend your afternoon with us. With that said, I'd like to take a minute and introduce you to our campus team, the brilliant, passionate individuals behind this virtual learning series. Everyone on this team has worked really hard and tirelessly to pack this program full of just valuable and helpful content for you guys. Our hope is that as you move through this series over the course of the next 6 weeks, that you experience a few aha moments and that we're able to provide you guys with some nuggets that you'll be able to take back on campus to help sharpen your skills. At the very least, you'll get a certificate of completion that you can share with your academic advisors to let them know you weren't sitting on the couch or partying all summer. All right, so first I'd like to introduce our fearless leader and who will coincidentally be the first presenter of this session. His name is Todd Stout. Todd is the manager of global talent sourcing strategies for Corning. His leadership and his guidance and his energy really set the intention and the direction for our campus team and our talent acquisition department. The next couple of people that I'll be introducing to you are responsible for keeping my head straight and my energy focused and in the right direction. So for those of you who have had the, I won't say pleasure, I'll say the experience of having met me in person, you probably know that's a pretty hard thing to do, especially on a daily basis. So obviously, both these two individuals have quite a bit of patience, and I sincerely thank them for that. First up is Karen Clarkson. Karen is our senior program coordinator for the intern and campus programs. She leads program development and execution, and she also keeps us all in line. Not only does she kill it doing her job, but she also ensures that the rest of us have what we need to do our jobs. Karen is literally the glue that keeps us together, and the personality behind those hilarious memes that you guys have probably all seen at one point or another. She's really quick-witted, and she will not hesitate to ask to speak to the manager when the situation warrants it. Next up is Jessica Wright. Jessica is our talent community specialist. Jessica is not only a national champion cheer coach, but she's also the secret sauce behind Corning's talent community and the @CorningTalent Twitter handle that hopefully everyone who's tuned into us today is following to make sure all of the valuable data that we capture gets cleaned up and stored in our talent community so that we have ways and actually invents new ways for us to continue to engage with all of the talented people that we meet at our events. So there you got it. Todd, Karen, Jessica, and myself make up the Corning campus team. We'll be facilitating the virtual learning series over the next 6 weeks, so feel free to connect with us and reach out to us. If you have any questions, concerns whatsoever, we'd be more than happy to answer them for you. All right. We've got tons of great information to share with you today. As a reminder, we'll be having a Q&A session following each presentation to make sure we answer your questions. At 2:45, Todd Stout will be kicking us off with an overview of Corning and its history of life-changing innovation. At 3:15, we'll take 10 so that you guys can get comfortable, maybe step out, grab a nice cold beverage. At 3:25, Jessica Wright will be giving us an overview of the virtual learning series, followed by Karen Clarkson, who will take a few minutes to talk to us about the Yellow Belt and Standout trainings. Following that, we'll have Sam Konopsky, who will walk us through the CVent registration tool that everyone will be using to sign up for their sessions. And then at 4 o'clock, Rita Shagar from the D&I office will give us an overview of Corning's employee research groups. And then lastly, we'll at about 4:15, we'll take a final opportunity to answer any questions you guys may have, and then we'll close out the session. All right.
Hey, E.
Yes?
Really quick, it's just not going, I don't know if you're clicking through on your end, but it's not going through the slides on our end.
Oh, it's not. Let me make sure. Having some difficulties here. Sorry about that, guys. Let's see if we can get this to work. Oh, there we go. All right, so there's Todd, myself, Karen, and Jess. Apologies for that. I didn't realize my screen was not clicking through. Oh, are you guys still able to see that? The agenda? Yes? Okay. Oh, it keeps, all right. There's our agenda. And then, as I mentioned before, first up's Todd Stout. Todd will be giving us a history of Corning and a division overview. So with that said, Todd, I will kick it over to you. Take it away.
All right. Thanks, I appreciate it. Thanks for the introduction and passion and energy. One of the things that I want to emphasize, as E mentioned, as I kind of go over Corning's history and a little bit of a background, is look for that aha moment, whether that aha moment happens during the next hour and a half or so, or whether the aha moment happens, throughout the summer, relative to who Corning is and the life-changing innovations that we're a part of. We want you to be thinking about Corning with regards to your daily interactions, from the time you wake up in the morning to the time you put your head down at night, and how you engage and where you engage and when you engage, and more specifically, how often you engage with Corning's technologies as you work through your day. So next slide, please.
Absolutely. There you go.
The slide right here is kind of a one-pager. We'll call it key facts. When you look at what Corning does and who we are, we're a specialty materials company focusing on specialty glass, ceramics, and optical physics. And we'll talk about how those materials transpire into the products and divisions that we have. We've been around a super long time, founded in 1851, so we have been around for 169 years. And we'll work through how we've been able to reinvent ourselves over those 169 years. 50,000 employees and $11.7 billion in sales. We have more employees outside of the U.S. and we do more sales outside of the U.S. than inside of the U.S. So we're a truly global and international organization, with our Fortune 500 ranking being 277. Next slide, please. When you look at 169 years, there are a lot of key innovations that we've been a part of. Whether it was in 1879 working with Thomas Edison for the light bulb, whether it was in 1939 for the CRT tubes in the back of your TVs, those TVs that were really big and really heavy, to transforming how we watch TV in 1982 with the invention of LCD glass, and it's the liquid crystal display glass that is instrumental in making those TVs super, super thin, to inventing the first low-loss optical fiber, which is instrumental in how we communicate today, to our Gorilla Glass product that's on over 6 billion smartphone devices, covering over 45 different brands, down to our automotive sector that has technologies inside, on, and outside of the vehicle. So a lot of things we've done to reinvent ourselves over the course of our 169 years. Next slide, please. When you look at those three materials and you look into the market segments in which we operate, it transpires down into internally about 5 different focused divisions. Display technologies could be the device you're using to look at the WebEx, or it could be the TV that you have at home. Optical communications, think fiber to the home, fiber to the curb, fiber to the tower, wireless, as well as solutions that are in data centers. Environmental technologies, those are the ceramic substrates that go into catalytic converters to help reduce emissions, so help make the world a greener place. Specialty materials has a lot of different types of products. That's where our Gorilla Glass brand is, as well as some other advanced optics and some products that we do for the defense industry. And then life sciences has 2 components to it, traditional lab products, and we also have a pharmaceutical technology division. That's the vial that you're looking at here to help with pharmaceutical packaging. Next slide, please. In addition to the divisions that we have a very key group inside of Corning called the Emerging Innovations Group that really takes our unique capabilities and figures out how we can go to market with them. We believe we have some of the smartest scientists in the world that are inventing these life-changing innovations. Our Emerging Innovation Group takes a look at it from a market capability perspective and say, yes, we can invent it. Can we make it? Can we sell it? Is there a customer for it? Is it big enough for us to be profitable? So a very important group that takes all of our life-changing innovations and figures out how we're going to go to market. Next slide, please. We'll talk about our research and development focus in a couple of slides, but our IP is a critical part of our DNA. When you look at patents, just last year alone, we had 555 patents in the U.S. and over 1,500 patents across the world, which for us, year over year, with all the investment in R&D and intellectual property, today we stand at over 12,500 unexpired patents. So we do a good job not only at the invention piece, but we make sure we protect our IP as well. Next slide, please. I mentioned, 50,000 plus employees, $11+ billion in sales. We do a lot of different things in a lot of different locations all across the world. But one thing that doesn't change for us is our values. We live our values, all 7, all around the world, all the time. And those values are a huge foundation for who we are and how we operate. You'll have a better chance to understand and dive deeper into our values this Wednesday. One of our kickoff sessions will be our values seminar, and I encourage you to join it. They're not just words for it. They mean a lot to us. It's a foundation for how we operate. And as I mentioned, what we do at a facility may change. Our locations may change. Our global presence may change. But our values do not, and they're uncompromised. Next slide, please. When we talk about being around for 169 years, sustainability is a word that we don't take lightly. We're able to reinvent ourselves through sustainability. Sustainability means not only how we're able to operate as a company and be around for a really long time, but it's how we operate our facilities. it's the impact that we make to the communities in which we operate in, and it's the positive impact that we have across the world through our life-changing innovations. Slide, please. Go to the next one. There's a lot of different ways that we succeed through our culture, our relationships, our networks, our values. Research and development and engineering is one of those. On average, we invest around 8-ish% of our annual sales into research and development. That's 2 to 3 times our competitors. So you're talking almost $1 billion a year into R&D. It's $3 million a day. So focus, being proud of where we are today, being proud of what we've been able to accomplish, but not losing sight of how we want to be around for the next 160 years. And research and development is a critical component about how we're going to sustain ourselves to be around for that duration. And you can, once you click on the next one, we have a concept that we call 3, 4, 5. I talked about that aha moment from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. If there is one slide that you take away from that really helps explain who we are and what we do, this slide is what it is, the 3, 4, 5 slide. I mentioned at the beginning there are 3 core technologies that make up who we are, and that's not going to change for us. It's specialty glass, ceramics, and optical physics. We take those 3 core technologies, and it means 4 different ways. We have 4 different manufacturing platforms, whether that's vapor deposition, fusion, precision forming, or extrusion. Extrusion is an example of our ceramic substrates. Think about, back in the day when we were young and you were playing with clay, right? You pack clay into a material and then you push it out and out forms your clay. The extrusion process is very similar to that. The 5 pieces are 5 market access platforms. We talked about optical communications and life sciences and environmental technologies. We take those core technologies, we make them into products through our manufacturing platforms, and we sell into 5 key industries. We sell in the optical communications industry, we sell into mobile consumer electronics, we sell into display, the automotive field, and the life sciences field. And I'll talk about each one of those over the next couple of slides. Next slide, please. And this really gets into the 5 aspect of our market platforms. When you look into optical communications, think about what you've already done today. Optical communications, we talk about fiber to the home, fiber to the curb, fiber to the tower. We talk about wireless solutions. We talk about solutions that are in data centers. So think about how you've operated today. Right now you're on a WebEx and you've had to connect, either you hardwired in or most likely you're on your Wi-Fi network. And if you're sharing your video or you're looking at our video, right, we're streaming video to you or you're streaming video to us. Whether you're sending a text message, whether you're sending an email, whether you're streaming a video through Netflix or how you're, watching your shows, it's going over the Corning's fiber network. If you've ever seen the Verizon commercial, where Verizon is building world's first 5G network, they're doing it through Corning's products. We've never been in a more connected society today than we've ever been before. We have a huge appetite for being able to connect to the world. When we want information, we want it really quick, and our optical communications division allows for the world to stay connected. Next slide. Mobile consumer electronics, right? Think of your smartphone. I mentioned, Gorilla Glass around over 6 billion devices. The glass could be the touch glass that you have right here. So when you're touching your smartphone and it's enabling all that stuff, whether it's searching or whether it's turning it on, our technology allows that to happen. There's glass on the front of your phone. Odds are there's glass on the back of your phone. It could be on your camera. If you have an older phone, that the home button has glass as well. So a lot that we do relative to mobile consumer electronics, both in the phone space, the tablet space, and then the wearables are really taking off as well. Display technologies, you know, when you're looking at your TV and the vibrant colors and the real thinness of the TV, it's our technologies that enable those TVs to be really thin, as well as the vibrant colors to be able to shine through when you're watching it. And then automotive. We talked earlier about our environmental technology division, the ceramic substrates that help reduce emissions to make the world a greener place. Our automotive solutions are on the outside of a vehicle. It could be the windows. It could be a part of the vehicle, like the catalytic converter, the ceramic substrates, or when you go inside of your vehicle and you have your touch display or your lighting. Our automotive solutions are a big part of what you're experiencing inside and outside of a vehicle. And then life sciences. There's a couple of different components for life sciences. If you've ever been in a lab in high school or in college, the material handling equipment could be a pipette, it could be a Peachtree dish. We have our Corning Pharmaceutical Packaging division, and that's what you're seeing here, that glass vial that helps with pharmaceutical packaging and drug delivery. So our products help advance research to save people's lives. I mentioned that we're super proud of where we are today and the rich history of innovation that we're a part of, and our life-changing innovations that we do. You know, being around 169 years is nothing to shake a stick at, but our mission is to be around for another 160 years, and we feel our materials, our products, our culture, our people, and our locations across the world will help us have that footprint for another 160-ish years. And then we can move to the next one. All right, we won't go into the appendix. That has a lot of supporting documentation. But why don't we open it up to Jess? Any questions?
No, not yet. So if anybody does have any questions about what Todd just went over, feel free to put them in the chat and we will be able to answer them for you.
All right, we can move on to the next.
No questions? All right. Well, with that, that will close the first session, and you guys will get a 10-minute break. Then we'll come back, and then Jess, Karen, and Sam will walk us through the virtual learning series, the Yellow Belt and Standout trainings, and the actual CVents tool that you guys will be utilizing for your registrations and to sign up for the classes. See you in 10. Welcome back, guys. We'll get started in just a couple of minutes at 10 after. All right, guys, it is officially 10 after. I hope everyone had time to take care of whatever business they needed to take care of and get an ice cold beverage so they could get settled in for the second half of our orientation. Our next presenters are Talent Community Specialist Jessica Wright, who will be giving us an overview of the exciting stuff we have packed into our virtual learning series. She'll be followed by Senior Program Coordinator Karen Clarkson, who will get us up to speed on the Yellow Belt and standout trainings that will be offered through the virtual learning series. And lastly, just a slight correction there. I mentioned that Sam Konopsky would be joining us. We will actually be joined by Rodrigo Ribeiro, and Rodrigo is the Corporate Events Travel Logistics Coordinator and one half of the team that actually created this application that you guys will be utilizing to register and to sign up for your courses once you're in the system. So with that said, I will kick it off to Jess. Away we go.
All right, thank you.
Right.
If you can, perfect, thank you. So wanted to go into a little bit more detail about the different learning series that we're going to be offering over the next 6 weeks. So there are quite a few names I see on the attendee list that may not have received their registration email yet to be able to get in the tool and register. So just sit tight. Those registrations will come in waves. So I believe everything should be sent out by the end of the day tomorrow. And if you don't receive an email then certainly reach out to us. We will, once you receive that registration email, you'll be able to actually register for the different events. And you'll want to check your spam email as well, because sometimes it can go there. So again, give us just a little bit more time. There's quite a few people who are participating in this, and so we had to send registration in waves. So just kind of going through the different learning series. So we do have weekly professional development series. So they're fun. They're called Tuesdays with Tom and Snacks with Stacy. Tom is a workforce and development leader, and Stacy is an HR manager, and they're both really dynamic. They do a lot of training and development at Corning, a lot of career coaching. And so some of the topics that they'll be talking about that you really want to participate in, they have tailored the content to candidates who are early in their career and employees early in their career. So some of the topics from Stacy are earning credibility early in your career, having effective one-on-ones, leveraging career coaches, reverse coaching, so sharing knowledge and ideas as new hires. Tom is going through a lot of communication type training, so courageous conversations, the art of influencing, working with a virtual team, how to lead and how to thrive in uncertain times. So those happen on a pretty consistent basis every Tuesday and Thursday. We'll also have workshops with our talent acquisition teams. So there are 2 courses, and this is really important. There are 2 courses that have a capped limit because of the activities that follow. So our first one, which happens next week, is a resume workshop. Members of our wonderful recruiting team, many of them you might be aware of if you've applied for a position or gone through the interviewing process. So the first one is the resume workshop. Everybody who attends that will be able to submit their resume for review by a recruiting professional within our talent acquisition team. Same thing with the interviewing skills presentation. So that workshop will go through a lot of different types of interviews, behavioral interviews, panel interviews, and then also just give you tips and tricks for how to prepare, what to do if you're stuck on a question, how to pace yourself, and things like that, how to really nail virtual interviews, which are a very likely possibility right now. And after that session as well, you will be able to sign up for a mock interview with our recruiting team. So again, those 2 are capped. The rest of them are open to everybody. So you do want to get in and register for those if that's something that interests you. If you know you cannot attend, please take yourself off that list because we will have a waiting list for those 2 events. And then we have a lot of other opportunities with our talent acquisition team too. That's also a weekly series that happens on Wednesdays. You'll also hear from our employee resource groups in different divisions. So these are built in like coffee chats where they will talk a little bit more about their division. A lot of the divisions have a little special part of that division that they're bringing to you. So whether it is like the cable process or a new product or something like that, you'll get an overview of the division, and then you'll also get a little special piece of it from leaders within those different divisions. For the ERGs, they'll talk a lot more about what their mission is, some of the activities that they do, and we'll also hear from Rita Shager today, who will talk, who has a really great presentation on our ERGs and diversity and inclusion. Every week, we'll be releasing videos on demand. So you'll want to check your emails because we will be sending those out and it'll give you a link to go to the video on demand. Our Corning Optical Communication team has graciously provided some training videos. Some of them are really short, some of them are a little bit longer. And following each one, you'll get a certificate of completion for those videos on demand. And we'll also be releasing some suggested YouTube videos that give you a better insight into Corning or can provide you with more information as you're starting to develop your career. We will be tracking attendance for events. So this way that is the way that we'll be able to provide those certificates of completion is by tracking attendance. And then there's more to come. We will have opportunities for social events. Our IT division is presenting some really cool topics and also working to create like a datathon or a hackathon. So you just want to make sure that you're checking your emails and band often so that way you're staying up to date on any changes that are made throughout the series. And with that, I'll turn it over to Karen, who can talk more about Yellow Belt and Standout. Oh, Karen, you're on mute. I'm going to unmute you right now. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's okay.
You're good.
I'll try that again since you guys can't read my lips. Okay, so Standout has been being taught by Linda Marks for years at Corning. She's a great instructor. She's very dynamic. It's a strength-based training, so it's going to give you an opportunity to learn a little bit more about yourself and what your strengths are and how you can use them to build your career, whether it's in school or for your career with Corning maybe in the future or another employer. Yellow Belt has been around for a long time also. Corning has been using Six Sigma since 2003. They started their quality journey in 1983. It It's an opportunity for you to participate in a prep course through Yellow Bell and to understand Corning's methodology. There will be 7 videos that you will be able to register for in the registration tool that Rodrigo is going to talk to you about. We will also offer in July, mid-July, 2 Q&A sessions with 3 of our Master Black Belts. Corning, we mentioned, has about 50,000 employees, and of 50,000 employees, we have 50 Master Black Belts. Corning has also used this method for 12 years and has saved $3.5 billion over those 12 years using this method. Does anybody have any questions about this, either one of those trainings?
No
If you're
questions.
interested in learning, you do have one? Go ahead.
Nope. No questions so far. We have a quiet group this time.
Let you know that www.asq.org is a good site that you can go to learn more about different certifications in Six Sigma. That's it. If you think of any other questions, let me know.
Okay, we do have a question.
Yep.
So is there a way to get the Yellow Belt certification after the classes?
The Corning, if you're employed by Corning, they will help you with that process. On the website that I just mentioned can show you the steps that you would have to take to do it on your own after you do this prep course, and then they have some additional study guides that you can access through their website.
And the next question, so Karen, if you could put the website in the chat. Awesome.
Happy to.
Cool.
And I think that's it. We could probably go on to the next section.
Yep.
Okay.
Rodrigo, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Can you guys hear me?
All right. Yes, we can. Loud and clear. The floor is yours, my friend.
Perfect. So as they introduced me before, I'm Rodrigo and I work with the corporate events team. And if you have received our invitation email, or if you have received the direct link to the website, you'll be taken to the event homepage, to the registration website homepage. I just want to, reinforce to you guys that at the bottom, there is a corporate events email address that you can use to send any requests to us in case you're facing any difficulties with the registration site. From the homepage, you can check our program's agenda through the option agenda at the top, and you can click register now to start registering for your preferred sessions. If you have already registered and if you want to go to the confirmation page to make modifications to your registration, let's say that you want to add more sessions, you need to provide the confirmation code that will be sent to your email once you go through the complete registration flow. So I think you can move to the next slide. So the first part of this page, this is our registration page. We'll ask you to provide your first name, last name, email address. You need to select your participant to this program. You need to provide your school and major as well. And the second section of this page is our networking page. So if you want your name to be displayed in our attendees list, you can select yes, and you can upload profile pictures as well, and your name will be part of the attendees list, so other students will be able to contact you for networking purposes. Then if you hit submit, what? One slide down.
You were ready to go forward. Sorry about that.
It's okay. So if you move forward from this page, you can select all the sessions that you like to. You need to select one by one. Then you click next again and perfect. And in this page, you're gonna, once you select all of the sessions that you like and hit next, you receive a registration summary. So you can check all the sessions that you apply to attend to. But just be mindful, this is not a confirmation page. You need to click submit if you really want to move forward and confirm your participation. Once you do that, you receive a confirmation email with your confirmation code, and you'll be able to see the attendees list as well. And this is one of the examples that I was just mentioning before. You can see all these students, you can look for someone, and you can actually email those students that opted in to be emailed through this list. Any questions? So quiet.
Yes, there is a question. So the question was, is this the same email that we should have received for today's meeting? I did not receive an email for today. My college sent me the link and just want to confirm that I am on the list. Yes, you are on the list. So you will be receiving it in a future wave. So again, if you haven't received this email that Rodrigo is referencing, give it until 5 p.m. tomorrow. They should be out earlier than that. But give it until 5 p.m. tomorrow. We have about 1,000 names that we're uploading. So it does take some time to get that into the system and generate those emails and confirmation numbers. So again, if you haven't gotten that email, give it until 5 p.m. tomorrow. We don't want to spam the corporate event team asking about registrations if they haven't been able to send them out yet. So if you don't receive anything, it's not in your junk, it's not in your spam folder by 5 p.m. tomorrow, then definitely reach out.
Any other questions?
No, really quiet group.
Yeah.
We'll give it another minute to see if anything comes through, and then we'll keep moving.
Yeah. We're doing a really good job of explaining everything, so not a lot of questions.
I think that's what it is. Second time's a charm. All right, so we'll keep moving forward, and as always, if you have any questions, feel free to add them in the chat, and we'll get to them following the next presentation. All right, so next up, our last presenter of the day, but certainly not least, is from our Diversity and Inclusion Office. Rita works tirelessly to ensure that we have the safest and the most inclusive environment possible at Corning. Again, Rita Schauger, the Diversity and Inclusion Coordinator. Rita, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
The floor is yours. Take it away.
Well, thank you. Hi, everybody. Thanks for being on the call today. I have been with Corning for 21 years and in the diversity office for 15 years, so been around this world for a while. Let's start today with talking about what is diversity and inclusion at Corning. And there are many interpretations of diversity and inclusion, and we want to talk about the concepts and what they mean at Corning today, starting with what diversity is. Each of us has a personal story based in our background, perspective, and experiences that we all bring to Corning. With our corporate culture, we celebrate these differences because they are what help us to generate the best ideas and achieve the best solutions for our customers. In that sense, diversity is one of Corning's greatest strengths and strategic advantages for our company. Diversity is integral to our corporate identity and to our ability to live our 7 values. It is what inspires life-changing innovation at Corning. Let's focus our attention to inclusion. So we're actually on the previous slide. There you go. This is our, inclusion is essential to our unique collaborative culture at Corning. Being inclusive is how we make each other feel respected and validated in our work environment. It's what makes each of us feel comfortable and safe in bringing our whole selves to work. And inclusion is what gives Corning employees a sense of belonging, something. Our commitment to diversity and inclusion has never been stronger. Next slide. Another concept that's really important to understand is the linkage between diversity and inclusion and innovation. For almost 170 years, innovation has been part of Corning's lifeblood. From developing the glass envelope for Edison's light bulb to revolutionizing telecommunications with optical fiber to introducing Gorilla Glass, we have literally changed the world through innovation. Our ability to innovate depends on diversity of thought, experience, and the unique traits of individuals working together in a collaborative and inclusive culture. Next slide. Corning's employee resource groups, or ERGs, play a major role in supporting our diversity and inclusion strategy. Today we have 18 ERGs, each of which has a chapter located in Corning, New York. Some ERGs have chapters in other locations, and we are adding more every year. Corning's ERGs represent a variety of employee interests and constituencies, such as disability, LGBTQ, women, African American, Asian, veterans, and many more. All of our ERGs are open to all Corning employees, and we have more than 4,000 employees who belong as a member to one of our ERGs. Next slide. There are many ways that the employee resource groups have an impact on Corning and its culture. Our groups represent key employee constituencies and work at the grassroots level to help make Corning better. Our ERGs raise awareness around disparity and vital issues. And inspire corporate leadership to adopt new policies, practices, services, and developmental opportunities. Our ERGs help recruit, develop, and retain diverse talent, and the ERGs foster our inclusive collaborative work culture and increase cultural understanding among diverse employee groups. Members of our employee resource groups serve as living examples of Corning's values. The passion of our ERG leaders and their members help make all of this happen. Next slide. Here's a look at all of our employee resource groups. You can see that the employee resource group information, you can see this information on Corning.com to learn more about each of the individual ERGs. And I believe you'll be having coffee chats with some of our ERGs and their leaders, and they'll update you on their mission and vision, their objectives for the year, what they're working on. During the COVID-19 pandemic, our ERGs have remained active and have been a great resource for all of our Corning employees. If you have any questions about these, feel free to ask. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Rita. And at this time, we'll open it up to questions. Jess, have we got any?
We do not. Could you actually go back to the ERG slide with all of them so we can just go over which ones that we are going to have coffee chats with? So we do have a coffee chat scheduled with ADAPT. We also have one scheduled with the Corning Professional Women's Forum, Corning Professionals Network, EDGE, Ethnically Diverse Group of Employees, Spectra, which is LGBT, and is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Is that all of them that we're going to have presentations from? Oh, and the Society of Black Professionals. Yep, SBP. So in case you were wondering, those are the ones that are on the docket to present over the summer. Cool. Any questions? Don't be afraid to speak up. If you want to send it privately, you can send it to me and I'll be able to read through it.
Give it just another minute, Jess. see if we can get any brave souls to reach out and ask us some questions.
No, no questions. I think we're
All right.
good.
Well, thanks again, Rita, for joining us. Again, some valuable information as it relates to the ERGs and also just kind of tying in Corning's values and the importance of the individual in the organization. In closing, we'd like to thank you all once again for joining us this afternoon. We hope you found this information helpful, and we look forward to engaging with each and every one of you over the next 6 weeks. We do realize that we have shared a ton of information with you. So if, again, as just mentioned, if you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to us. And again, thank you for your time, and I want to wish you a good rest of the day. Take care, guys.
Thank you.